Okay, Mr. Allen.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. And I just wanted to share with everyone what I'm hearing in the 12th District of Georgia is that we must open this economy, and it is critical that we get schools open for the new school year. And I can't get anybody to tell me there's another option. This is an important discussion that we're having today. In fact, it's critical that we, as a Congress and as a country, come together and try to decide exactly how we're going to move forward. Mr. Johnson, you spoke of some concern as a citizen on the amount of federal spending as a result of COVID-19 in your opening remarks. Since you are a teacher, I don't know if you are a math teacher, but I thought I'd give you a little math that we've had to deal with here. This year, the federal budget at the beginning of the year, October 1, was $300 billion above the previous year and $200 billion above 2018. Most of this was discretionary spending, which is about 30% of the total federal budget, which has increased from $1.2 trillion to $1.5 trillion in 3 years. In the last 3 months, it has tripled. It's gone from $1.5 trillion to $5.5 trillion, or 4 times that originally budgeted. I have heard the HEROES Act mentioned here today, which would double the accelerated level from 5.5 trillion to 8.8 trillion. The HEROES Act also includes a large tax cut for those who live in high-tax states, known as the state and local tax deduction, SALT. As a citizen and an educator, how would you explain this debt that we are putting on the backs of these very children that we're trying to figure out how to get back to school this fall? How would you explain this to them?
Well, again, I will emphasize that I am the father of a 7-year-old, and I agree with you. That is one of the balances that Congress has to unfortunately strike in this situation. We absolutely are going to need resources for schools. There's no doubt about that. But we know that the amount of money coming from Congress is being done through debt. And while we absolutely want to connect every student, and we owe it to every student to find the innovations to make sure we get them the tools and strategies they need to succeed, we also don't want to burden them with even more of this debt that is being piled upon them that eventually they're going to have to pay. So I would say it's a very hard balance that we're asking Congress to make, but that is one reason why I just bring the information from North Carolina about how we are still working through the funding that you all have so graciously given us so far.
Well, it's a very, very difficult situation, particularly when we're asking our educators and everyone across the state in Georgia, which has been mentioned earlier, to reduce expenses as a result of COVID-19. And here we have the federal government that has, almost 6 times, increased spending almost 6 times to deal with this. Plus, we have an economy that is currently being restricted because of the COVID and other reasons that are a little bit beyond our control. But as far as the funding levels, assuming that I don't know how we're going to deal with this situation. We put ourselves in a terrible situation. In other words, in Georgia, we had a $3 billion rainy day fund, and we're going to deal with it. But what have you got to have to, get your school system open this fall? Can you give me a number and what you think it looks like for the rest of the country? Have you looked at any numbers there?
No, and I know that there's actually the group of chief state school officers that is working on providing a number. That it's very important that we put everything together when we make these decisions, because you are making some very difficult choices. Everyone is. And part of this is sometimes there's just really, really tough challenges that we face with this COVID-19 crisis. But I do believe that we will be able to work together and get through it together.
Well, we've done this so far to save lives, and that's important. And but we've got so many other things that that are confronting us right now, and it is difficult. And we don't take this spending lightly. I don't, but because it's going to be a tremendous impact on future generations. We don't even know what that impact is going to be. So I thank you for your time, and I'll yield back, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Thank you. Gentleman from California, Mr. DeSaulnier. Gentleman from New Jersey, Mr. Norcross.
Thank you.